From the News Channel 5 Network, this is SportsLine.
Hey there, SportsLine on your television. Steve Layman here with you. Glad you are here with us on News Channel 5 Plus tonight. As always, phone lines open 737-7767 if you would like to join in on our conversation. And some huge news here in Nashville this afternoon. The Titans giving contract extensions to both General Manager John Robinson and head coach Mike Vrabel. A lot to be proud of what those guys have accomplished in turning things around, and maybe the only other person who has just as much to do with what the Titans have done over the last 6 years in the case of Robinson or 4 years in the case of the addition of Vrabel is controlling owner Amy Adams-Strunk. She's had a huge finger on the scale of what the Titans have been able to do and what those two gentlemen have been able to do during their time here in Nashville. But she doesn't have a contract. She's the owner, so she's going to be around as long as she wants to be around. And today she did her best to make sure that these other two guys are going to be here for a long time to come as well. We don't have the details on how long the contract extension is or what type of dollar figures we're necessarily talking about, but we do know they're going to be here for the foreseeable future. And if you're a Titans fan, you have to love that. You don't love the end of the season, neither do they, neither do any of the Titans players. It was frustrating to be the number one seed in the AFC and fall short in the manner in which they did to lose to the Bengals like that. That said, 6 straight winning seasons is the second longest run of anybody in the NFL. That's Robinson. This team had won 5 games in back-to-back years. Total. 5 games total in consecutive seasons before he showed up. And now they've run off 6 consecutive winning seasons. They've been to the playoffs 4 times. Vrabel was hired in 2017. And in the last 4 years that they've been together, he has had the winningest first 4 years of a coach of anybody in Titans history. And the only other person to do it in the team's history is Jack Pardee a long time ago with 43 wins in 4 seasons. That's what Mike Vrabel's been able to do. 3 consecutive playoff trips now, an appearance in the AFC Championship game a couple of seasons ago, and of course, now back-to-back division titles and the 1 seed. It didn't pan out, but you want to put yourself in position as much as you can, because that's the thing at this level, is even great teams can lose in a one-and-done tournament, especially in the NFL. It's a bit like March Madness. You can see the upset. You can see the surprises because it's one Sunday. It's one game. And anything can happen. And we saw that. And the Bengals are living proof of that. That they could come to Nashville and beat the Titans and then go to Kansas City and beat the Chiefs. And now they're in the Super Bowl for the first time in 33 years. But you want to put yourself back in that situation. The Chiefs may be a good example of that over the last few years. For 4 consecutive seasons with Patrick Mahomes, they've gotten to at least the AFC Championship game. Now, they only have 1 title, which will lead some people to criticize what they've been able to do after some prematurely called them a dynasty a few years ago. But 4 consecutive seasons, they've made at least the AFC Championship game. 2 of them they lost in heartbreaking fashion in overtime. 1 of them they won and went on to win the Super Bowl. And another one they won and went on to lose in the Super Bowl last year to Tampa Bay. But that's what you want. You want to be in that position year in and year out. And the more times you're in that position, the greater likelihood that at least once you break through and you can finally hoist that trophy. And that's the thing this franchise has never been able to do. But the move today by Amy Adams-Strunk made it clear that she believes that she has the 2 correct people at the top of the organizational pyramid. That John Robinson is the right personnel guy and that Mike Vrabel is the right leader in the locker room to get the Titans back to a Super Bowl and to ultimately win that championship. She said as much. In the release, she said that she has seen the year-over-year progress, the steady incremental progress that these guys have done, working so well hand-in-hand together, and that she believes wholeheartedly that their singular purpose at this point is to bring a championship here to Nashville and to the Titans fans. She went on to say that she appreciates the way they go about it and the fact that they are clear in their messaging, that they demand excellence, but they also really believe in and support their players. These guys are about the family. These guys are about the relationships. Yes, they demand excellence, but they also do it in a way that you know that they care about you. And I think when you look at some of the adversity that the Titans had this year, that was apparent. You know, you have guys come in and out of training camp all the time. But when you actually get in the season to see the number of injuries the Titans had and the number of players they had to either shut down or deal with some sort of adversity with, and then the number of guys they had to bring into the building for tryouts, to sign, to toss into a game right away that weekend and expect them to perform, I think it speaks volumes to the type of culture that they've created. And again, today Amy Adams-Strunk put her money and her commitment and her mouth behind those two guys. That they are the way. They are the leaders for what the Titans want to do moving forward. And hopefully one day that will lead to the top of the mountaintop. As we get set for Super Bowl 56 this week, that's obviously the place that the Titans would ultimately like to get to. Super Bowl 56 is coming up on Sunday, 5:30 kickoff between the Rams and the Bengals from SoFi Stadium in Los Angeles. And there's a great story about a former OVC football player at Tennessee Tech that's made it big time. He's got a new job as essentially Sean McVay's right-hand man in Los Angeles. And Carter Crutchfield will join us next here on SportsLine to talk about the whirlwind first year on the job and what it's like out there in LA right now as we get set, counting down the days for Super Bowl 56. We'll take a break. We'll come back. We'll chat with Carter. Much more on the way here tonight. This is SportsLine on News Channel 5+.